and we've got a special guest today, Mr. Robbie Savage.
What do you think, Sav? What do you think about England?
If you're playing with 2 sixes against Scotland at home, my biggest thing was that I would play with 1 6. Scotland did play well, but they're 44th ranked team in the world, the 3rd lowest ranked team in the tournament.
Robbie, how far are Wales going?
If they can win at the weekend, they've got a real opportunity of getting to, possibly to another semi-final.
Comments Gareth made today were just a little bit for me. He said, you said to me earlier.
His comments specifically on Sancho are mental.
The Champions League, for me, is a harder tournament to win than the Euros, and better players play in the Champions League.
I agree.
It's a fact. So when I'm hearing people say these players aren't ready for a major tournament, it's a lot of nonsense. Would you go for Pace as the number 9 or stick with Kane?
He's the only player at the moment in that squad that is undroppable.
He's a proven goal scorer at this level,
Every
and I think it's
time.
hard to take someone like him out.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the guys. Stephen, Rio and Joe. I got tuned into 5. You know the vibes, you know the guys, you know the trio. You know it's Steve, you know it's Joe, you know it's Rio.
Welcome back, guys, to Vibe with 5. Loving it in person again. Myself, Joel Beya, alongside Rio Ferdinand and Stephen Howson. And you know what? We got a special guest. Are we bringing in the special guest straight away?
Is that why I'm wearing these?
Is that why you're wearing them?
That's what I'm wearing.
Probably why. Before we start, though, we want to say a massive shout out to our sponsors, Sokin. You guys are brilliant. We really enjoyed it last week. They enjoyed the show as well, Rio. I want to ask you, what is Sokin about, Rio?
Sokin is I've got involved in it actually. I told you last time. I'll repeat it again. For it being an investor.
Got you.
And with Sokin, you can send money to over 200 countries around the world for one monthly fee of $9.99. No FX markups or anything like that. It just makes it easier, man. It's a much more simpler way of transferring money. We're all one of them guys where you had that transfer place where people or family would go in to send money home to other countries. This makes it a lot easier.
What's it say?
Where?
What's it say in this message?
Thanks, my son. I enjoyed the video with Rio and Alan. I will need to join Sokin. Is that your dad?
That's my dad. So he's on the Sokin Flex. It's actually brilliant as well. So yeah, man, they love it, man. Like my dad, he's all about, he sends the money home to Congo and stuff like that. And he does it like every day. But at least with the $9.99, he can do it.
Yeah, there's no hidden fees or nothing like that.
No
It's very clean,
fees.
it's very quick, and it's efficient. That's what you need.
Brilliant stuff.
And a cool looking card or no?
Yeah, you get a cool looking card, which is nice designed. It's red as well, part of it, which is
We've got it on the screen anyway.
Yeah, so it's good. You look at it, you take it up, and you purchase, get one.
There you go. All right, cool. And we've got a special guest today. Welsh. That's the number one thing about him so far. And obviously, Wales have gone through. The main man himself. He's part of New Era as well, isn't it?
Yeah, he's part of the management company, New Era. Great guy. You know what? I used to absolutely hate this guy when I played against him. I hated him.
I can imagine.
He was just like a wind-up merchant, and he just used to rile me. So everything about him, he's barring it, everything. You should just, I used to think, what is this guy?
Yeah.
And then since retiring, and obviously been part of the same management company, and we see each other around BT and traveling around the games and stuff, he's just like, we've grown to become good friends, man.
Wow, he's actually a friend now.
Yeah, man, definitely.
That's a
good
strong
guy.
word.
Oh, let's bring him in then.
Yeah,
Let's
come on.
bring him in. Mr. Robbie Savage.
What's happening, Sam?
Robbie, thanks for joining us. Obviously, we've been looking forward to having you. I know you're in a good mood today. Wales have gone through. But before we get on to that, we're going to review very, very quickly where England are after England's draw with Scotland. Now, let's start with the positives. Foden looked bright, despite playing in in his non-preferred position.
And that's the end of the positives.
And that's it. That's it. That is it.
What do you think, Sav? What do you think about England?
Obviously, I was in Azerbaijan for Wales, so I was watching the England-Croatia game, in a bar, and I cast my eye over it, and I believe they played well. Phillips played, more as number 8, and I believe he had man of the match. They did okay. They created, I think, was it 4 attempts on target, kept the ball well. But I think, like always, a few people go over the top with one performance against a Croatia side who aren't the same side that got to the World Cup final. Just before the tournament, Croatia drew with Armenia, so not the greatest build-up for Croatia. So I think people went over the top a little bit. And then against Scotland, I think the biggest thing for me is Calvin Phillips. If you're playing with 2 6s against Scotland at home, my biggest thing was that I would play with 1 6. And I know Phillips played as more of an 8 against Croatia, but you don't play Calvin Phillips as an 8. He doesn't play as an 8 for Leeds. 9 times out of 10, he's dropping into the back 4 and getting the ball and dictating play. So you either play Bellingham or Mount deeper with 1 6, whether that's Rice or Phillips, especially against Scotland. And Scotland did play well, but they're 44th ranked team in the world, the 3rd lowest ranked team in the tournament. And let's be fair, going into the game, I was with Rio. I thought it would be 2 or 3-0, comfortable win. But when you've got forward attacking players, Sancho, who doesn't get on, the subs were left late. I don't know why. Listen, I'm not as good as Gareth Southgate, but I do love football, analyse football. And in a game against the 44th best team in the world, why do you need to play with 2 6s? The big thing is they're saying they've got to protect, the back 2.
Against who, though?
Stones. But it's Scotland.
Yeah.
Listen, it's Scotland, the 44th best team in the world. So I think that I understand that against Croatia or if they go through and play Germany or France, I understand that. But in that game and against the Czech Republic, if they finish second, their run could be better. But I don't think they can do that because when Wales finished above them in the 2016 group, when Wales topped it, Wales got to the semi-finals, and you think England would have had a better run, but they went out to Iceland. So I don't think you can say, let's finish second. I think they've got to go and try and win against the Czech Republic. Let's be fair, they should beat them. I'd play with 1 6, whether that's Rice or Phillips, and then we'll play with 2 8s and the 3 up top. That's what I would do.
I agree totally. I mean, some great points there, Sav. And a more important question for you coming on there. Where's the Giorgio Armani tattoo? Have you still got it there? Is it still there, Sav, or not?
No. To be fair, unlike yourself, Ray, I work in the gym and you can see the development in me.
Okay.
Like you've been the same size for many years now. You're doing all this work with Mel, but you can't see any improvement with me. Look at those. You can see them.
That's nice, man. I love seeing you go out in the gym. I'm messing about, but no, I agree with you on some of them points, man. In that playing 2 6s against a team that you feel they're not never down for scoring goals.
It's
So
only,
what do you need to
Shea
protect?
Adams up front
And
as
Shea
well.
Adams up front. I'm funny. Tyrone Mings and who played with Tyrone?
John Stones.
And
John
John
Stones
Stones should be able to deal with anything that Scotland have got to throw at them. So. And by the way, 2 fullbacks that weren't allowed to go over the halfway line.
That was the big problem for me.
Yeah.
But forget about this. We're here to talk about Wales. Robbie, how far are Wales going?
Well, before the tournament, I thought they get into the last 16 in a group where you've got Turkey, Switzerland, Italy, and Wales. We've seen how well Switzerland played against Turkey. They were on a good run. Turkey, going into the competition, had only conceded 3 goals in qualifying. Then in the first game against Italy, conceded 3. Nobody would have thought they'd have had a poor tournament. A lot of people were tipping Turkey to go far. And Italy, obviously in the last game, it was crucial at one point when Wales were 1 down and Switzerland were 3-1 up. If Italy had scored when Wales were down to 10 men and Switzerland would have scored, that means on goal difference, on goal scored, Wales would have finished 3rd. So I think they've done unbelievably well to get out of the group in 2nd place. Now, you've got to think about it. They go to Amsterdam at the weekend, probably against Russia or Finland. Their best performance for me, other than Belgium in the last Euros, was beating Russia 3-0. People forget about how good they were in that game. And then if they win that, they go to Baku, Azerbaijan, and could play Holland in a quarter final. And Wales have been there already, played 2 games there. It's very hot. They know what it's all about going to Baku. So you've got to think if they can win at the weekend, they've got a real opportunity of getting to, possibly to another semi-final. But it's a long way to go. And I think, as Rio will tell you, Kiefer Moore, as that lone centre forward, was such a handful. It was important when he didn't get booked. He'd have missed around the 16. But when you've got Ramsey, James, who's having a fantastic tournament, Bale in behind, Juventus, Real Madrid, and Manchester United, you've got a chance.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, they've played Switzerland, Turkey, and Italy. they've only conceded 2 goals, not in open play. Because the way they defend, they throw themselves in front of shots, they're together, they block, there's no space between the lines. So in a group with teams very high, Italy, 30 games unbeaten. As I say, Turkey didn't concede a goal in open play in qualifying. Only 3 goals conceded, all set pieces. And they've done that well. So I think it's an amazing achievement. I think that they can, now they're
just to cut in there. Gareth Bale, yeah? He's obviously the main guy, yeah?
Yeah.
How does he do this? How does he switch it on like he does for Wales? And then obviously the disappointment probably in the main of last season in the Premier League. What's the difference?
Well, I think towards the end of the season, he actually did do well. I think what Gareth loves, I don't know him that well. I've been to Madrid to see him, and I watch him play. I think he just absolutely loves the environment of going with his mates. To a lot of these people he's grown up with, they're his mates, and he feels at home. He feels at ease. I think he loves the expectancy of carrying a country on his shoulders. He's got the captain's armband now from Ashley Williams, who's done an amazing job. And I just think that he thrives in that environment. But being with his mates around the camp, and playing with a freedom, knowing that he is the main man. I think, he's humble when he's around the camp. He's finished the season really well, Ray. When he started, he got a hat-trick, didn't he, in a game? And
no, definitely. I think he finished well. I agree with that. I just feel in the main that people expected more from him in the main. I think he finished well, but I feel I got my own view on it. I just feel that when he left Spurs, he was the man there. He was the focal point of everything, and that's what he feels when he goes with the Wales team. Everything goes through him. You go to Real Madrid, everything goes through Cristiano Ronaldo. You go to Spurs again, everything goes through Harry Kane. Yeah. And when he gets in that red shirt, it's all about him, and I think he needs that. To be fair to him,
I think Robbie, you've definitely got a point when you say the freedom, etc. He's got great lads around him as well. He enjoys it. But my question to you, when it comes to Wales, do you think this is the golden generation?
Do I think it's a golden generation? No, I think that. Will this be Gareth's last tournament if Wales don't qualify for the World Cup? They started okay in the qualifying. Ramsey, what will happen to Ramsey? Joe Allen. I'm not sure it's the golden generation. You look at the Chris Coleman squad. Possibly that would have been. We had a Mark Hughes, Dean Saunders, Ian Rush generation. Neville Southall, the best goalkeeper in the world. The team I played in: Giggs, Hartson, and Bellamy. Me and Gary Speed. That was fantastic as well. What Wales have never had, in my opinion, is they've had world-class players in certain positions. For instance, when Rush, Hughes and Saunders played, that's a world-class front line. But when you go backwards, not great. My team, Giggs, Bellamy, Hartson, Speed. You've got fantastic players, but not a whole 11. And what the trouble Wales have always had is, and if you look now, in the first game, against Switzerland, if Bale, Ramsey and Daniel James, Manchester United are performing, who's going to step up? In that game, a Luton Town player and a Cardiff City player stepped up. So I think Wales' biggest problem is that they've had world-class players in positions, but never had it all over the park. And that's where England, I'm listening now to people saying about England that, there's a young side. They've been a young side for 100 years. They've got to step up to the plate. They've had teams. They had 3 teams in the major European final with English players in. Look at Chelsea, Man City, Manchester United. They've got Jadon Sancho, and people say these players aren't used to playing a major tournament. I'm not being funny. Rio can tell me if I'm wrong. The Champions League, for me, is a bigger tournament now than the Euros. I think there's better players playing in the Champions League.
Big statement.
Okay. Let me tell you this: Messi plays in the Champions League. Suarez plays in the Champions League. These players don't play in the Euros. Neymar. So there you go. So so the Champions League for me is a harder tournament to win than the Euros, and better players play in the Champions League.
I agree.
It's a fact. It's a fact. So when I'm hearing people say these players aren't ready for a major tournament. That's a load of nonsense.
Yeah, I agree.
He's playing Champions League.
Yeah, the Sancho, the comments Gareth made today were just a little bit for me. He said, you said to me earlier.
Yeah, I was going to pull him up a little bit later on. His comments specifically on Sancho are mental. There's no two ways around it. He was talking about how he's not playing him, trained well this week. Apparently that means nothing. In form, apparently that means nothing. Inexperienced, considering that he's played how much Champions League football for Borussia Dortmund.
He said inexperienced in tournament football, he said. But I understand.
Bellingham's playing, Rice is playing.
Tyrone Mings is playing.
Do you know what I mean?
There's inexperienced players that haven't been to tournaments. They're everywhere. But you go on what they've done at their club, and the last 3 years, I'm going to repeat myself. I sound like a broken record. Sancho, in terms of output, has been the second best player in terms of goal involvement for the last 3 years, and he's done it at Dortmund. So to think that you're talking about experience, that he's played more games than Foden at the top level.
Bellingham.
Bellingham.
Well, look at Wales. Look at Danny Ward. Danny Ward played Europa League football for Leicester now and then. FA Cup, didn't play in the Premier League. Yet has been magnificent. No tournament experience.
Yeah,
but has been magnificent. Look at Joe Rodon, being fantastic.
Sub at Spurs.
So look at Morel.
Dylan Levitt. Dylan Levitt's played once for United, went on loan over to Croatia, didn't play, and has been part of the squad. And whenever he's called upon, looks the part.
But that's the thing. I just feel like sometimes as a manager, you've got to be brave. You've got to be brave and don't err on the side of caution. And I feel that Southgate at the moment...
He's not brave though, right? He's not brave to play Jadon Sancho.
No, yeah, I 100% agree with you. But in his own mind, he's going to have to be brave because I think naturally he's a more conservative person. So in his own mind, he'd think it being brave. We're sitting there going, just play him. Because we've seen him play at the top level, but I'm talking if you're sitting there as Gareth Southgate,
scared of Scotland,
you've got to go against your natural
scared
instinct.
of Scotland,
and it doesn't cost much to bring him on. If you look at the first 2 games, there were opportunities where you could have brought Sancho on for the last 10-15 minutes in both games. Obviously, he wasn't in the first.
Do you know what it goes back to? This is a point, Fia. It goes back to big team mentality. He's coaching and setting us up like a small team mentality. A big team mentality manager would have gone in that game and said, we're going to grab this ball by the horns. We're going to control the pace of the game. We're going to control it, get up against, win that battle first, old school. But we're going to camp on the edge of their box and going to force them to be back in their own half.
But do you know what he doesn't do as well, though?
We don't do that.
It's not even full small team mentality because a small team mentality would have a plan B for when we come up against a France or a Germany and be able to play on the counter. We're not even going to have that. We're just going to sit in the middle of the road.
I've got a question for you guys, right? Well, obviously, if Gareth Southgate gets to the semi-finals or finals with England, but doesn't win it, just say he gets to the semis or the final, and which Premier League club would he get as high as what? As a manager?
I agree, I agreed. I don't think they'll be done at the big 6 for me.
For me, the absolute best that you're looking at is Everton.
I think you could go Palace.
The absolute, you can definitely go Palace, but I want Frank Lampard there.
But you flip it the other way with England, Sav. If the FA put the job out and said to, listen, we want Klopp or Pep Guardiola, I think they turn their nose up at it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any top managers that want to take an international job at the moment.
No.
It's a part-time job.
I know we've gone off subject a little bit. Do you know who I think would be if Gareth Southgate won the Euros and whatever? Just say if Gareth Southgate was in time, was no longer England manager, the perfect man for me to manage England, Brendan Rodgers.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
Top class manager. Top class.
Tactically great, makes players better, believes in young kids, introduces them, is fearless in bringing kids into the team.
Can I give a butt for this little wank fest that just started then? Whenever the pressure's been on, he's crumbled.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, but
good shout. Last 2 years, yep.
Yeah, you say that.
And with Liverpool.
But to take the teams where he's taken them, I think is
cool.
Do you know what I mean?
Pressure on.
Hang on, who said that? Crumbled. I can't see. Who said that?
Steve said
Howson.
it. He didn't crumble at Celtic.
Steve.
Oh, Soz. That tripod over there can win it at Celtic.
Right, Steve, go on. You crumbled. Tell me crumbled. Go on. Now you're on 606. Tell me crumbled. Go on.
He should have got top 4 with Leicester. Crumbled.
So, whoa. Let me stop you there. He should have got top 4 with Leicester City. Hang on. So they won the FA Cup final, but you said he's crumbled. Won the FA Cup final, right?
They did.
Crumbled.
Beat Chelsea.
Crumbled.
No, that was a good result. That was one good result. Fair play. But the league's your bread and butter.
Who finished above Leicester City in the Premier League this season?
Liverpool.
United.
Liverpool.
United.
I went there. Liverpool, who were champions in the previous year. Next.
Yeah, but they're one of the worst champions ever.
Steve, wait, next.
He crumbled. It was in his hands. And let's have it right.
Carry on, Robbie.
This Leicester City 11 is better than United's. Is it not?
Steve, Leicester City crumbled, you said.
Yeah,
So
they
let
did.
me tell you. Champions of Europe, Chelsea finished above Leicester. The last season's champions of the Premier League finished above Leicester.
What's last
Man
season got to do with
City-
anything?
Man City, I'm telling you, Man City Premier League champions, and Man United, the biggest club in the world, who got to the Europa League final, finished above Leicester. But
Yeah.
little old Leicester
Crumbled.
What are you on about,
And
Steve?
They've got a better 11. They've got a better 11
And
than
do you know
United.
what? Wait. I agree with Robbie here because when it's Man United, and I'm telling these guys every week, you know what? United should have been winning the league. They'll go, oh no, but the expectations, and we've done well. We've improved. He's improved as well. So what's the problem?
No. I think from where they were, where he got them to.
4 points in last year, Rick.
No, where he got them to this season when they were cruising it, and then the pressure turned on. Then he crumbled from that point.
So that I say that about Solskjaer every week, and you lot shut me down.
What do you mean?
Because when you lot were running things, in January, and you lot were top, and everyone was getting excited. Did you see it, Robbie? All the United fans. were
How many
excited.
times do you see United go and win those big games, though? You do.
He's not with Real. Make your mind up, Rick.
So say again.
All he's at the wheel 1 week.
Yeah.
He's not the next.
Listen, mate. All he's done, what was on his remit, was to improve the squad and get us to a better place,
and
and
that's
that's
what
what he's
Brendan
done.
Rodgers done.
Brendan Rodgers.
What?
He's improved the
Oh,
squad.
we lost
he's
him.
won a competition. He's done
back.
what he's
We
had
lost
to do.
him. He's
No,
back.
I'm not saying that
back.
Brendan Rodgers. I'm not saying Brendan Rodgers has crumbled. I think he's done an amazing job.
Hello.
I'd let him go to be an England manager if
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate one day walks away.
Is it not?
100%. Shout him. Any of the big jobs came up. If I was one of the people making the decision, Brendan Rodgers would be one of my first picks.
Trust me. It's true. I would take
Steve
him at
thinks he's
Arsenal.
crumbled.
I'd take him at Arsenal in a heartbeat, but I think.
Of course you would.
I think he's actually too big for the job at the moment.
Whoa.
I think he's done a fantastic job at Leicester. I think Leicester's got a fantastic squad. And I think their starting 11's better than United's 11. It's got way more balance.
Nah.
And that's why he should have done better.
Nah. It's not.
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
going back to the point before where Ray, you said all his remit was to improve the squad, but Brendan's done that. He's got more points than last year.
And a cup.
Yeah, I'm not debating that, Sav.
Well, you said he crumbled 5 minutes ago. Make your mind up.
No, Steve said he crumbled. He crumbled when he got into a winning position. That's
Crumbled.
when he crumbled, I think.
Well, when the expectation and pressure's on.
I think that where he got them to in the league, where they were clear of everybody, they were looking like guaranteed third or second position. He should have got them over the line. That's where he fell off.
And they were underdog against Chelsea in the final, and that's why they won.
Oh, come on. Seriously.
Anyway, let's move on from Brendan Rodgers. He's not part of the Euros.
Move on.
Robbie, I wanted to ask you about Gary Speed and what's his legacy with this current Wales team, do you think?
Yeah, obviously, the tragic passing of Gary, an amazing man, fantastic footballer, helped me massively in my career. Gary was the one who, when John Toshack had the job and then Gary took over, he started to use the young players and he was amazing. Do you know what I mean? His future was just looking incredibly, good and, what he was doing with the Welsh national team. I remember them going to Wembley and playing ever so well against England. And Gary was the one who started, along with John Toshack, to give the youngsters an opportunity. I know, the whole of the Welsh nation, idolised Gary for what he'd done for this country. For me personally, he was an inspiration, one of the characters I could always go and talk to if I was feeling down. When I was a young member of the squad, always there to help me. I learned off him ever so much, and obviously it was such a tragic day when I heard the news about Gary, and he's still massively missed by all. So, but what he started with Wales, he obviously deserves so much credit, as does Chris Coleman, for where Wales are now.
I agree totally. What a man. Definitely missed. Do you know what? Go on.
No, I was going to move it on, Robbie, because obviously you don't have too much time with us. I want to go back to the England topic very quickly.
That's where I was going to go.
Thank you, Rio. Grealish. We've seen him play for 13 minutes or something like that? Is that good enough?
Well, the question is, obviously, Raheem Sterling scored the opener against Croatia. Foden, for me, you play on the left or the right, whichever side, opposite to Sterling. Phil Foden against Liverpool in the Premier League at Anfield. Do you remember? He played
on the
right.
right.
9 in the first half. Then he went onto the right-hand side and was magnificent.
And scored.
But, I'd like to see Grealish on the left. Harry Kane, I think Harry Kane deserves to play. I know he's getting a bit of criticism, but still, I don't know what you guys think, but I think Harry Kane is the captain, the leader, can play. And then on the right, Sterling or Sancho. And then you can play 1-6, and then you can play Foden and Mount, or you can play Bellingham and Mount, or whoever you want to play as those three in rotation with 1-6.
I'd do that 100%. I'd even play Grealish as one of the 8s and give him.
You could do that as well, mate.
Grealish as an 8, and you can get the speed up top as well.
I'd like Foden as one of the 8s.
That's what I would. Foden, I spoke to Foden just before the Champions League final. I was lucky enough to spend a bit of time with him, doing an interview. And I said to him, what's your favourite position? His favourite position actually is in midfield.
Really?
That's where he grew up playing. He prefers to play in midfield, but he said, I'll play anywhere. And he thinks good players, and what he's learned is the best players can play in multiple positions. As good, like, for instance, you look at Kimmich, that's what he does. Yeah.
Probably all of us as kids growing up wanted to be a centre forward, probably wanted to sit the ball in the back of the net. We all would pick the ball up off the goalkeeper, even me, believe it or not, and you'd dribble past the whole team and score a goal. We were that good. People don't underestimate how, if you see a number 6 playing, when he was growing up as a kid in the playground, he'd have got the ball off the goalie, dribble past everybody and scored. That's what happened. So, when you're saying about Grealish, I agree. He could play as a midfield player. So, Foden, they can run back towards their own goal. They can get the ball off the goalkeeper on the half turn and go forward. You could have such an exciting England team. You look at France, the way they play. They've got N'Golo Kante as a 6. Pogba. They've got so many players, but they play with a freedom. Look at Germany the other day, how free-flowing they were.
Their formation would suit our players down to the ground the way they play with two number 10s behind the striker. They'd be unbelievable. We've got the players to do that. You've got to have a brave manager. I keep saying the word brave, but you need somebody. You look who's going to say to somebody, I'm not going to play you in the position that you play for your club because I see something different you could bring. Look at Andrea Pirlo. He was a number 10. I played against him at under-21s with England. He was unreal as a number 10. Ancelotti sees something in him and says, no, you're going to be at number 6. You're going to start our attacks. You're going to play from behind the game now. Changes it, becomes one of the best holding midfield players of our generation. So it can be done. And I see there's something like that with players that we've got sometimes. We've got to be able to transfer the ball through the team. And at the moment, we can't do it.
Do you know what? As a Welshman, if I was playing against England now, would I rather, as a midfield player, lining up in the tunnel and I looked across and I see the midfield of, just say it was Calvin Phillips or Rice as a 1-6. Then I looked round the rest of the team and it was Grealish, Mount, Foden, Kane, Rashford, Sterling or Sancho. I'd be thinking, wow. Or if I seen Declan Rice and Phillips as 2 6s with, a number 10, I'd be thinking, do you know what? I'd rather play against that team.
And two defensive-minded fullbacks.
Two defensive-minded. Because I'm not going to have to trap my runs of Grealish or Foden. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to be okay in there. And I think, why can't... As an Englishman, would you, if you go out of this competition, would you rather go out losing 4-3, having a right goal, or losing 1-0, like in a defensive...
The first option, 100% the first option. You want to see us. Do you know what it is? It's more about going out playing to your strengths. Our strengths are our talented players. Yeah. We watch them play for their clubs in Europe, in the Premier League, and we all salivate over them. We all say how great they are, world class, etc. But then get them in. It's like, you know what this reminds you of? My generation. You get them in an England shirt, and it looks a bit more style. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And we don't want to be jumping the gun here. This is one game, by the way. The Croatia game weren't bad. The first game...
Croatia game was good. I mean, let's not forget, guys, there's still one more group game to go. It sounds like... I think we're disappointed because it sounds like he's not really going to change things too much. But he actually has one more game in the group stage to switch it around a little bit. I just think we now know that because he is so defense-minded, it's probably not going to happen. That's the disappointment. If you're going into this game, we're not going to get knocked out, right? How would you approach it?
You go to. I think you go to just try and win the game. You got to get some momentum going, and I think in a tournament, as Sav will know, through watching and being around the Wales team, momentum is so key in these tournaments. If you're gonna do anything, you've got to generate momentum, and by doing that is going out and playing some decent football and getting confidence back in his team. And sitting there hanging on for a 1-0 win against a Czech team isn't going to get the confidence back in a Harry Kane, a Sterling, a Sancho, a Grealish, a Foden, etc. It ain't. So, and they're your most productive player. They're your most important players.
Right then. So has Southgate been found out then? Is he not up to the spot?
Let's finish the tournament. You can't say that after 2 games and we are qualified for the next phase. So you can't say he's been found out yet.
You play against a team like Scotland, like Robbie was saying though, the 3rd lowest ranked team.
Yeah.
And you come away with a 0-0 with what everyone. If England didn't have the players, right, and you go maybe like Wales, no disrespect there, Robbie, but like Wales, you go, do you know what?
That is disrespect right there.
All right, well, let's have it then. Right, so if you go, okay, we don't have the players and we've done well to qualify, like Wales' situation, I think Wales, their supporters at the moment quite happy with
their
expectations
current
situation.
Are very much lower.
Exactly, but you look at the attacking talent in the England squad. How are you being nilled by Scotland? They had one defender.
No, I agree.
One central defender playing in defence.
But you can't go out and wield the axe right now when we've still got games to go. You got to wait and see you finish the tournament and then you look at what the aftermath is like.
A different question then. If he comes out and plays another system where the fullbacks aren't allowed to cross the halfway line, another system where you're not seeing Jack Grealish, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, and another system where it's just not good enough, is it time to start having question marks about him then?
Yeah, I understand there's question marks already because of the Scotland game and how negative people felt that was. And again, it'll be the same if this result and performance goes the same way. But I'd rather wait till we get there and then we start talking along those lines. Listen, I've been in a camp, I've been in the World Cups, and you want positivity. And listen, you say what you see. The last game was poor, disappointing from where I was in Cloud 9 before that. And got out my pram.
There were still trends in that game that carried over, though.
Yeah. I'm not doubting. I think tactically he got it wrong. And I think he's got an opportunity now to right those wrongs. And that's what we've got to see. Let him play out.
Isn't it more than tactics, though? Isn't it an attitude?
Yeah, because I think it all comes together.
You can be tactically wrong, but have the right attitude going into him. He didn't have the right attitude, let alone the right tactics for that.
But do you know what, Reed, do you know what, on England, on the 2 6s, right? So Liverpool won the Premier League with Henderson, Wijnaldum and Fabinho, right? You wouldn't say they're the most creative. Look, Wijnaldum will make runs in behind.
Wijnaldum plays as a number 10 for Holland.
Yeah, but those are the 3 in midfield. Yeah, England are playing with only 2, and then they're playing with 4 real good attackers. So, what is the difference then with 2 6s? Yeah, because Liverpool's team that won the Premier League, you would say Henderson, how many has he scored a season? Not that many. Fabinho hardly scores, and he's a fantastic 6. Henderson moves slightly different than he went to more of an 8 to press. And Wijnaldum, Wijnaldum's a fantastic player and plays at 10 as you say, but that team there, with only 3 attackers really, but I know the fullbacks, is that the big difference then? The fullbacks, because Robertson and Alexander-Arnold was the width. How many chances they create between them?
Of course, you can say that.
2 6s, have your fullbacks got to be up the back.
If you play 2 6s, your fullbacks have to be like your outlet wide. I don't get that how we play 2 6s and our fullbacks stay as well. This just doesn't. I don't care how many players you've got up the pitch. You've got to be able to get them players the ball, and that was our biggest problem: is getting them players the ball high up the pitch. We couldn't do it, and then therefore you don't sustain any attacks because we don't actually pen someone back. We don't probe. When have you seen us probing? We didn't probe at all. We don't probe any. All those players we're talking about, the attacking players, they create chances week in, week out at their clubs. But they're in teams that are probing, that are controlling teams, penning teams back at times. And that Liverpool team you talk about, they had 3 midfielders and the 2 wing-backs or 2 full-backs flying up and down the pitch. But listen, they pen teams in and they press. They push, they dominate teams. And that's an element that we haven't got in this England team at the moment. I'd love to see that change in a Czech game.
Robbie, I'm going to move it along. What are you doing over there?
I'm just setting something up on a tactic board because for me, the overload was why England did nothing, or the lack of an overload was why England did absolutely nothing.
I was gonna move on the topic, but it looks like you're onto something there.
Don't worry about me.
All right, cool. We saw France held to a draw. Not very impressive against Hungary, really. I mean, what happened? It was different from the France against Germany. France against Germany, I was on the phone in the group like Pogba. You know, I was having a proper, I was proper excited. They came out the second game and they looked pretty average. It's like the momentums with Germany now. I mean, they were so impressive against Portugal. What happened for France?
You can say that they drew the game as well, which is fair. But what I would say is you can play badly, but it still look like you can score goals. That's the difference with this French team. I think they can do different things. They can defend. They can be resolute. They didn't play well at all. They give the opportunities to the opposing team, but at the same time, they still look a threat. That's where I draw the positives from that performance.
Yeah. No, I agree with Ray. They look a threat. How many chances have they created?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And Germany then, looking at Germany, they look like they woke up. Robbie?
Yeah, I was looking at, I know Ray talks about Ronaldo and listen, incredible. It started the goal, which he scored in his own 6-yard box and had the desire and the hunger to tap it in their 6-yard box to go 1-0 up. But then the 2 own goals, I just thought, they're a machine, aren't they, Germany? Pressure was massively on. Lose that, then you could go out the tournament. John, with the home game against Hungary to come. So they'll be a danger. And if the big thing is, obviously, the second place in England's group, the winners in England's group play the second in that group. And I think England have to go into the Czech Republic game wanting to win the game because you've got to beat everybody to win the tournament. Not everybody, but you've got to take your path. And would you, Ray, rather see England, if they win the group, who can they beat? Who have got the better chance of beating, France or Germany?
Oh, definitely Germany.
Oh, it's completely equal. Yeah. None.
But Germany, if you're going to take one, you take Germany. But I still think it's a tall order. I think that the way Germany play, they're so free-flowing. They're a well-coached team.
Kai Havertz looks like a different player.
Defensively, I think there's their only Achilles heel, but you've got to get the ball back off them. And I think they're going to cause us so many problems from the way that they played, how fluid they are. Kimmich, the way that they set up, England, I believe, of the players, if they mirrored that, would be a very good team.
There you go. Robbie.
The big one for that would be obviously all the talks about Harry Kane, and if it was Germany, Hummels, as a centre half, listen, he's been fantastic, but he's not that quick, is he?
No.
Would Harry Kane's, obviously, Harry Kane's not slow, is he? Harry Kane's a powerful runner. If Harry Kane has another poor, I know it's all hypothetical, has another poor game and starts, and then then it works out they face Germany. Would you go for pace as the number 9 or stick with Kane?
You got to stick with Kane. I'll answer that. You can't. He's the only player at the moment in that squad that is undroppable. He is.
He's the man. He's the only one that you can say that he guarantee. He's a proven goal scorer at this level, and I think it's hard to take someone like him out. And I don't think his game relies on pace. It's about guile. It's about getting him the ball in the right areas.
He probably is undroppable, being the captain, but should he be undroppable?
Yes, because besides Lewandowski, there's no one better. There is no one better in the world.
Or are you picking individuals over system? This has been England's problem for 25 years.
You can say that, but I think that is the only exception right there. I
don't think there's anyone else who comes in and you can change a system to say that it justifies that decision. Yeah.
No, I think you could have different systems, and I think someone like Calvert-Lewin thrives in a different system in that with the runners around him. But I don't think you can justify moving the system just for Calvert-Lewin. But again, that's suiting a system to the player rather than having a system.
Let me ask you a question. Hypothetical. If Jamie Vardy would have come out of retirement, would you have played Jamie Vardy? After seeing the tournament as it has been, would you play Jamie Vardy?
If we're a counter-attacking team, yeah, I would have.
Yeah. If I'm Gareth Southgate, I'm like the milk tray man outside his house serenading him. because he could have been the difference and the game changer.
But again, coming into this tournament, who it would have expected us to have been a team that are going to play on the back foot and be a team?
Because I know that you're going to come up against teams that you can definitely beat.
But what I mean is with the players that we've got, how do you you don't expect that? You expect us to be a team that can dominate the ball and dominate the opponents, and they've been doing that in qualifiers.
Not against France and Germany and Italy. You ain't doing that.
I think you were the only person who thought otherwise, because we were telling you from early that was going to happen. Podcasts ago, we were telling you what he was going to do.
No, you were saying that's what you would think you should happen.
No.
And but I'm saying, based on what I've seen in the group stages where we dominate a lot of the possession, albeit against rubbish opposition, because we all agree it's rubbish in the qualifiers.
Yeah.
And with the players that we've got and how they're maturing, the Mason Mounts, the Fodens, the Grealishes, the Sanchos, the Sterlings, etc. They're going to be a team that are going to sit back and be a counter-attack team. I just feel they shouldn't be, but we're seeing at the moment that they may actually end up being that. But like I say, if Pep Guardiola's got this team, or Klopp's got this team, or Brendan Rodgers has this team are on the front foot dominating teams.
Maybe, but the reason
there's no maybes about it. They would.
I think it's a maybe.
You look at Italy, right? Italy now unbeaten in 30 games. I think 11 straight wins, 11 clean sheets in a row. But if you look at their team, player for player, how many get in England's team? You look at the front three, right? Yesterday, Belotti as a centre forward, Chiesa from Juve, and Bernardeschi. How many of those get in England's front three? None. None of them would get in it. And you look at the midfield. Verratti played yesterday, but didn't play in the first two. This is an unbelievable player. Pessina, who got the goal, wasn't in the initial squad. I know it was probably 8 changes for Italy yesterday, from their team that, started the tournament. You look at the team played yesterday, that front three of Belotti, Chiesa and Bernardeschi, you don't get in England's team. Nowhere near it. But
so what are you saying? That they're coached? There's a better coach on the Italian side than the England side. Is that what you're saying?
Well, 30 games unbeaten, Ray. I think that's a record. When Roberto Mancini took over Italy, they were their lowest place in the FIFA rankings ever. And now look at where they are. You look at the team, and they're well drilled, they're well set up. There's not much pace in the side. Look at the two centre halves, Bonucci and Chiellini. Obviously, Chiellini didn't play, so then Bonucci come off at half time. So you're looking at the whole side. There's not much pace in it, but they do create chances, and they do have attempts on target, and they play free. But if you look at player for player, England have better individuals, but they just don't seem to create chances.
Structure over individuals.
So just to wrap it up, Robbie, final question. You seem like you're keen on Italy. First of all, who are your favourites to win? And who are your favourites actually?
I think France.
Okay.
France. I think you can't look beyond France. I know they drew with Hungary, but the squad is ridiculous. I know Dembele's out now, isn't he? I think he hurt his knee. He's out. He got subbed, but I think
that's no surprise though. He's injured every other game.
France.
Yeah, France. Rio, who are you going for?
I agree with Robbie. I'm not going to change my stance. I said it at the beginning of the tournament.
Did you?
Yeah, they're 21 to win this tournament.
Okay, cool.
No one's got depth like France. Nobody.
I thought you said England.
Italy might have a shot because of the clean sheets that they keep, and if they could put a system on them, but they're not favourites.
No.
France are the favourites. Italy could sneak it. Germany could sneak it, but no one else is favourites by France.
I think that's agreeable. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Who are your favourites from the tournament? Also, what's your starting 11? We want to know what you would do against the Czech Republic. I'm not going to ask you because you said you're not going to tell us. We know what you want to do. So let us know in the comments. Vibe with 5. Sokin, thank you very much. Robbie Savage, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Sav, appreciate your time, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Take care,
Cheers,
mate.
guys.
Top man.
Joel Beya, Rio Ferdinand, Stephen Howson, signing out, and we're out. Peace.
Yeah. You already know the vibes. Looking in with the